Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. I'm Neha Bhardwaj-Alter and let's get you all the latest from the ODI World Cup where Netherlands will be patting themselves for a brilliant effort with the ball to restrict Pakistan to below 300. Yes, Pakistan are all out for 286 against Netherlands. What does this mean? Is that a good enough score? We'll find out because Jamie Orter is on the show, as is Vedam Jaishankar. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out. But we've seen two games, well, at least 1.5 games. One extremely surprising in the way New Zealand beat England. And today, yet again, who would have thought, Jamie, in those conditions, Netherlands will bowl that well to restrict Pakistan to 286?
Yes, good evening. I think for me, the inconsistency around Pakistan's batting is not surprising. But, you know, the fact that they've been there for a week, they've been training hard, they've been playing, they've had 2 practice matches there. It's not like Babar Azam and co just landed there 48 hours ago and they've had to adjust. But the way that Babar Zaman batted, the way that Babar Azam, how many balls did Babar Azam face for his 5 runs? 17, 18? I understand that it's a very shaky batting lineup on the best of days, and on the worst of days, this batting can look downright comical. But you know, Babar Zaman, how long will he be allowed to play these kind of shots? You know, very strange shot selection. You know, this is not some bouncy track where you can play. He looked horrible once again. Babar Azam, look, again, full credit to Aryan Dutt. Perhaps Babar Azam and the openers didn't expect him to come and bowl the first over. Perhaps they were looking for some friendly medium pace. But whatever it is, you cannot, I mean, I'm not being disrespectful to Netherlands. You should not be 38 for 3 against the 14th ranked team when you are the 2nd ranked team. And you've been parked there in Hyderabad for over a week now, you know. That said, look, I was not in doubt that this team could easily get to 275 because we've seen all too often with associates level teams that they're not able to sustain periods of excellence, you know. So from 38 to 3, all said and done, Mohammad Rizwan has played a lot of international cricket. Saad Shakil is their brightest batting prospect this year. Shadab Khan, Mohammad Nawaz, there's a reason these fellows are batting 7-8. Pakistan do bat very deep. Hassan Ali's got 50, Shaheen Shah Afridi's got 50s. So Pakistan do bat down to number 10. So 275 to my mind, honestly, was not in doubt. But I think it's going to be tough for Babar Azam to defend his number 1 ranking when I know he's got a lot of runs this year, but you scratch the surface with his stats, and against teams like Bangladesh, India, and Sri Lanka, he's not done a blooming thing. So how long will a person like Babar Azam say, I've got 150 against Nepal? What happened to him and Pakistan after that match against Nepal? They nosedive, you know. So only one match, just like we should not write off England after one shockingly poor match against New Zealand. I'm not going to write off Pakistan, but to my mind, they have a lot of work to do if they plan to compete in this World Cup.
So, Pakistan were restricted to 286. As Jamie was saying, Babar Azam struggled today. But Vedam, overall, of course, with the bat, it was Mohammad Rizwan and Saad Shakil both getting out for 68 each. Will you look at this and say that, you know what, by the end of the first innings, Pakistan would be very disappointed in their batting, given the conditions and given the opposition? Or would they say, you know what, we did well enough to get to 286. Yes, 300 plus would have been a good total, but this isn't bad and we can defend it?
Hi, Meha. I don't really think it's a question of whether they can defend it or not. I think what I found very interesting is they got bowled out. They got bowled out within 50 overs. And that is quite a big thing, to getting bowled out by Netherlands. But, you know, both today's match and yesterday's match, I wonder how much of the batting collapse really is due to early tournament blues, you know, a lot of butterflies in the stomach, a lot of expectations back home. They like to do well. Both are, you know, highly ranked teams, England and Pakistan. So I think the pressure is also there. Pressure is a big part of sport, especially in a game like World Cup. Pressure is a very big part of sport. And the way they handled it, I think they handled it very poorly. Maybe 2-3 games down the line, they might do better. But against Netherlands, they probably were looking at something like 350 or even close to 400. And Babar Azam kept saying that, the challenge is these grounds are small, it's very difficult to defend, which as a batsman, he would have thought it's easy to hit out of the park. But what we have seen really is, I think, they were leaden-footed, they couldn't move, their batting didn't look assured. And we know they are better batsmen, whether it is Azam, Babar Azam, or Fakhar Zaman. We know that they are better batsmen. But the fact that it has not happened, I would like to put it down to, early tournament blues, the butterflies in the stomach. May be right, it may not be right, but then when it's happening on 2 successive days, then you need to wonder whether these teams, are being crushed under expectations and under pressure. So, yes, Pakistan will defend the total. At least I expect them to defend the total because their bowling is outstanding. But let's not also forget that the Netherlands have nothing to lose. If they lose to Pakistan, fair enough. Pakistan is a better team. But if they go hell for leather and throw their bats around, will this Pakistan team panic? I'd like to see that.
Okay, so asked to bat first. Pakistan got off to the worst possible start with their openers Fakhar Zaman and Imamul Haq and captain Babar Azam all back in the hut in the first 10 overs. Pakistan was struggling at 43 for 3 when Mohammad Rizwan, along with Saud Shakil, built a 120-run partnership to stabilize their innings. Saud Shakil took 32 deliveries to get to his 50, and Rizwan followed suit by getting there in 59 balls. Both Shakil and Rizwan looked in complete control when Aryan Dutt came back for his second spell after having bowled a good spell with the new ball to dismiss Shakil. First trying to slog sweep a delivery from Dutt. He got out for a well-made 68, then Basta leaded. He got 2 wickets in 1 over to lead Pakistan from 158 for 3 to 188 for 6. Rizwan was bowled for 68, and then Iftikhar Ahmed was caught behind 2 balls later. And Basta leader wasn't done. In the 44th over, he got 2 wickets in an over again. Shadab Khan, he was looking dangerous, but Delide stopped his innings at 32 and then sent Hassan Ali back for a duck. Pakistan managing to get 286. Netherlands have to get 287 to win this game. Jamie, how happy will Netherlands be with their bowling performance against a side like Pakistan?
Very happy because the fact that you got their top 3 inside 10 odd overs for 38, I mean, that's a tremendous start. Wickets were shared. There were some good spells. But again, this is where I mentioned, the associate level teams all too often are not able to actually use such golden starts to crush teams. I mean, I just saw a stat that over 100 runs were added by Pakistan's last 5. So this is where a stronger team or a higher ranked team, we can say, would perhaps not have given Pakistan that leeway and would have kept them to 170, 180. But it's against the smaller teams. Tremendous. I mean, Basta comes and gets 4 wickets across 2 spells. They bowled them out, like Vedam said. That's actually very alarming. And just to add on something that Vedam was talking about, at the start, at the toss, didn't Babar say we'd be happy with 310, 320? That already was alarming to me. No, you should be targeting 360, 375 because unlike England, look, let's face it, England did not get a warm-up match. They had a 38-hour journey to Guwahati, which left some big names fuming and stewing. England can say, we had no warm-up. We've come from 5 months in England. Pakistan have been in Hyderabad for more than a week. They played 2 warm-up matches. So for me, it's somewhat disconcerting to see that a team which actually wants to come here and compete, struggled against Netherlands. So hats off to Netherlands. But again, when 14 plays 2, and you have Shaheen Afridi, I still don't think Netherlands are going to come anywhere near that target.
Okay, so now let's talk about what Pakistan will look to do after being restricted for 286. They've got the bowling attack, undoubtedly. They've got a very good bowling attack. But what would their game plan be, Vedam?
Earlier in the day, we saw Pakistan losing to Afghanistan
Yeah.
in the Asian Games. So
Yes.
that would have been quite a shock to many of these Pakistanis who would have got up early this morning, because many of them are their colleagues. So they must be wondering, is it going to be a bad day for us? But 289, I think 289 is what they need to get. That's a massive score for a team like Netherlands. That's really a massive target. And, it's against somebody like Pakistan. Of course, they have the Shahin Shah Afridi and Haris Rauf, two outstanding fast bowlers. Hassan Ali also is no mug with the ball. So I think bowling wise, it is a slow pitch. We saw that it's a slow pitch. If anybody should have been used to this kind of a slow pitch, it should have been Pakistan rather than Netherlands. Netherlands play a lot of the cricket in artificial surface, but of course also Netherlands. Many of them have got practice playing in South Africa, in England, in New Zealand. So they are a different kettle of fish. They can be dangerous on their day, just like that Andhra-born batsman. I think his name is Teja. He got 100 against the West Indies. So they have people who are capable. Tim Lilly's son is playing there, and he's done a brilliant job today. There it is, Brad.
Yeah, much better than what his father did in 1996.
Yeah, so they have that, the pedigree to do well, but this is a big stage, and you're playing a big team, a team which knows how to win. Yes. And they're not going to sit back and watch somebody like Netherlands walk all over them. I think 289 is a very good score for Pakistan.
Jamie, how surprised were you by Babar Azam's innings? He just didn't look like he just didn't look comfortable. Even, the 18-ball stay that he had on the pitch, yes, it was short, and that misery ended quickly, but at no point did you feel like, okay, this is Babar Azam that this Pakistan team is depending on to win them the World Cup.
Exactly. So like I said earlier, only one match, so way too premature to say something. But if you look deeper into Babar Azam's stats, right, he started the year by scoring a ton of runs in the first 8 matches or 9 matches, but they all came against New Zealand, right? He didn't do much against Afghanistan. And in the Asia Cup, barring that 150 against Nepal, who were ranked 15th, Meha, he has not done a blooming thing. And what surprises me, like I'll say it again, unlike England, who landed and had to take a 38-hour journey to Guwahati, only to sit there and watch both their matches washed out, Babar Azam has had he's had hours and hours and hours across a week to hone his batting, to get acclimatized. He's had 2 practice matches. But when he's not been able to use that against a team like Netherlands, no disrespect, this is a very, very tough situation to be in, And I know that in 2003 World Cup, when Pakistan had arguably their worst World Cup before 2007, Inzamam ul Haq was captain. I think he averaged like 4.3 or something. If Babar Azam does not up his game, my point is this is not an innings befitting of someone who is a #1 ranked batsman, whose captaincy has had a big role in Pakistan going to #1, right? He had no excuse to score 5 of 18 balls. This was not a raging Turner. This was not Zampa and Maxwell. This was, again, not being disrespectful. This was Netherlands, a team which you beat 3-0, less than a year ago. Yeah. So that to me is more than England losing to New Zealand. Babar Azam struggling. Again, you can say, yeah, it's just one match. Don't read into it. But I think there are signs that perhaps all is not well with Babar Azam right now, because you had the best of conditions. This was a 330 minimum track. And to play so timidly against Netherlands, somewhat shocking to me.
The other thing being what we saw with New Zealand and England, right, Vedam, where now teams are all going to be thinking about net run rate. And they've already seen what New Zealand has done with the kind of margin that they won against England, right? This is the time when teams like Pakistan or any of the other top teams will look to better their net run rate by winning with a big margin against teams like Netherlands, right? But in this case, I don't know how they'll be looking at it. Will they be now seeing this and saying, you know what, we need to win this at any cost, but we also need to win by a big margin? Or a team like Netherlands, they'll be approaching it saying, you know what, we've already restricted them to 286, which is brilliant. Now we'll give it our all. We have nothing to lose. 1 or 2 partnerships, and we can easily win this one. So you'll see that impetus from them, whereas Pakistan will be under pressure to win this game by a big margin.
These are early days, like I said. You need the heart and lungs and the legs for of a long distance runner in a tournament like this, when you have to play so many matches. So this is just the first game, but I think Pakistan would like to go into that match against India with at least 1 or 2 wins under their belt. It will give them a lot of confidence taking on India. So I think first priority for Pakistan would be to win the match. Now, as I said in an earlier talk, you can't afford to lose to the small teams. You can afford to lose 1 or 2 games to the big teams, because they are there. They would make the semifinals, as you would also expect to make the semifinals. But if you're tripped by teams like Netherlands or Afghanistan or one of these, lower ranked teams, that is when it's dangerous for the big sides. Losing, maybe Pakistan losing to England or India losing to one of these big teams. I mean, it's okay. It's possible in a long tournament you'll have 1 or 2 losses, but you cannot afford to lose to a small team. When I say small team, I meant one of the minnows like Netherlands are expected to lose this game. So Pakistan's first thing should be to win it. Get those points on board, and I don't think at this stage you need to really worry about run rate and things like that. But as you get along, you're absolutely right. It's a run rate against the smaller teams that will keep you really in fine fettle.
Okay, now as Vedam was talking about this particular game elsewhere in Hangzhou, Pakistan lost to Afghanistan. So it's actually been not a very good day so far for Pakistan. They lost in the Asian Games semi-final by 4 wickets. Now they will play the bronze medal match. But Afghanistan, meanwhile, will lock horns with India in the finals of the cricket competition at the Asian Games. Pakistan were dismissed for 115 as Fareed Ahmed, Qais Ahmed and Zahir Khan. All 3 bowlers from Afghanistan shared 7 wickets between them. Pakistan were at 1.49 for 1 but slid to 83 for 7 as they had no reply for the Afghani wrist spinners Qais and Zahir. In reply then, Afghanistan lost 3 wickets in the power play as well. And at one point, in fact, they were 83 for 6, but Noor Ali Zadran kept them going, and he, along with captain Gulbadin Naib, took the team home. Naib hit 3 sixes and a 4 to ensure there were no further hiccups, finishing unbeaten on 26 of 19 to take Afghanistan home with 13 balls to spare. And Afghanistan would be very happy and buoyed by this performance. They will be meeting India in the final for the gold medal. So that will be the gold medal match. But for Pakistan, they'll be disappointed. There are 2 teams now that one expected, Jamie, in the final of this Asian Games. One is India and the other was to be Pakistan. Though Pakistan lost to Afghanistan, I'm sure, that's something that they would have watched as well and said, this is not the best. We should have done better.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, once again, from a broadcaster's perspective, though there's not many people watching the Asian Games when it coincides with the One Day World Cup, it would have been fun for many, many people to watch Pakistan play India. But the moment this tournament was announced and I checked the squads, once all the squads were out, right? You compare the Indian squad leagues ahead of all the other squads, because India's B team, or A team if you want to call this, because this isn't actually an A team, not the original team. It has so much depth of international experience and then IPL experience. So it is the best team hands down. Then when you look at the other squads, Meha, Afghanistan team actually has a far more experienced team than the Pakistan side. It has Mohammad Shehzad, it has Noor Ali Zadran, Gulbadin captained Afghanistan in the 2019 World Cup, So yes, Pakistan also have about 6-7 players who've tasted international cricket, but barring Asif Ali, there's no one who's played, 15, 20, 25, 30 one-day matches. So stacked up man to man, it should actually surprise no one that Afghanistan are actually standing as the number 2 team in the Asian Games. Purely because when you have Mohammad Shehzad, we've all watched him play for 15, 17 years, So they have far more experience. Yes, a close game. But I think Pakistan's squad was predominantly, if I'm not mistaken, made up of uncapped domestic talent. Yeah. And I think it should surprise no one that they actually bowed out to a far better Afghanistan team.
Okay, so there you see, India in the morning today, they blew away Bangladesh in the first semi-final of the Asian Games, beating the neighbours by 9 wickets. It was an emphatic win by India. First, their spinners restricted Bangladesh to 96. before Tilak Varma blazed away to a 25-ball half-century to give their side an emphatic win and seal a berth in the final of the men's cricket competition. Indian spinners were brilliant after inviting Bangladesh to bat, taking 8 of the 9 wickets, keeping Bangladesh to a meagre total of 96. Sai Kishore and Washington Sundar shared 5 wickets between them as Bangladesh struggled to build partnerships. In reply, India lost Yashasvi Jaiswal early, but Ruturaj Gaikwad along with Tilak Varma did not let India falter after that, chasing down the target in 10 overs. So we'll be looking forward to that match as well. But quickly, Jamie, what are you expecting now from Pakistan? They have good seamers, they've got good spinners. What will be their plan against Netherlands? We're going to wrap this up, but what are you expecting from them?
They have a very good bowling attack. Just keep taking wickets. Yes, you collapsed, but you still got a match-winning total on this track against Netherlands, like Vedam also said. So just chip away, and I mean, unless somehow Netherlands get to 180 for 3, which I don't see happening. Yes, the start looks very good for now, but 218-7 is a long way, and I think Pakistan still have a very good bowling attack. So to my mind, barring a miracle, Pakistan will wrap this up fairly easily, I feel.
Vikramjit Singh has gotten off to a good start. He scored 13 of 17. So Netherlands, like I said, Vedam, they right now would like to believe that they can win this game, that they've done all that they could with the ball, and they'll really back themselves now with the bat to come good.
Yeah, definitely. So if you'd asked them before the match, like to chase 289 or 350, they obviously would have said 289. And now they've got it, they'll go for it. See, basically because, like I said, they have nothing to lose. And they have a decent batting attack. If they can see through a couple of the new ball overs and then handle the spinners, the key really, I think, would be, yes, the first power play and then the one between 11th over and 30th over. And if Netherlands have the ability to keep their head, a lot of them play in county cricket. So I won't be surprised if they spring a surprise of the Pakistanis. But what really tilts the match in Pakistan's favor is Pakistan have a good total and they have some outstanding bowlers. Their fielding, well, we'll have to see how it works out.
How much of this will come down to how Pakistani spinners bowl, Jamie, today?
Look, Shadab Khan, I think we mentioned before, he's not had the best of years. But just like in the Asia Cup, in that first match against Nepal, he got 4 wickets. He's the kind of bowler you expect him to get a bit more confidence playing, 14th and 15th ranked teams. And then Mohammad Nawaz, I was checking the stats before this match in the morning. When they played Netherlands three ODIs about less than a year ago, Nawaz didn't take big wickets, but he kept runs down to 3.8, 3.9. So I think even on this track, getting 10 overs out of Nawaz and how Netherlands approach him after Shadab, if they survive, and let's not forget, Pakistan's best bowler actually is yet to bowl. He's the guy who comes in and bowls 10, 12, 14, 16, or 11, 13, 17. And that is Haris Rauf, the best first change bowler going around. Haris Rauf bouncing people out. I mean, the match could actually swing, like Vedam said, 11 to 30. If 5 of those are from Haris Rauf at sheer pace, they're going to have a tough time. So I think for me, Mohammad Nawaz, a wily spinner, not a big turner, but on this track, I mean, look at what Aryan Dutt and that Colin Ackerman were doing. Yeah. Nawaz could prove a big handful, but before they get to Nawaz, they're going to have to face minimum 4 overs of heat after the power play from Haris Rauf. So long way to go for Netherlands.
Absolutely. But what I can see is that they've gotten off to a good start. 20 for no loss. They've already hit a couple of boundaries. They seem like they don't want to stop. You guys want to make any predictions, Vedam? Maybe a big upset on the cards. Is that something you see happening?
No, I'm not sure about the upset. But what was interesting when Netherlands was bowling a little later in the innings was that Tim de Leed was able to reverse swing the ball. So, and Pakistanis are past masters of that. Maybe the pitch and the outfield is quite rough and it will get rougher much quicker. And so Pakistani fast bowlers, if they come back and reverse the ball, then I think Netherlands would not be up to it to handle at that 90 kilometers per hour speed. So I'd go with Pakistan, really.
Okay, Jamie? Would you agree with
I mean, Absolutely,
Come
absolutely.
on, boring.
In these matches,
Boring.
No, no. Look, we all want an underdog story. And yes, Netherlands have the skill, but I just think with this Pakistan bowling attack is very, very good. Barring a miracle, they should win by, I don't know, 50, 60 runs is my prediction.
Okay.
I would love to be proven wrong.
we'll-
Don't.
Unless there's a lot of dew.
Yeah, that's which
Yeah.
there is a possibility of that as well. But thank you so much, guys. Completely out of time. Thanks for joining us here, Vedam Jaishankar and Jamie Alter. Well, that's it then on this special. News9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the World Cup. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Literally every major power in the world is gearing up with its own digital currency. And so is India. But India's UPI has taken digital transactions to the next level. So, with UPI already available, what exactly is the use case for the e-rupee?
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT. News 9 Plus, download now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries in the world, you don't have three garbage mountains waiting to welcome you depending on whichever side of the city you enter from.
The thing is that a lot of times we talk about landfills only when there's a fire at the landfill. You need to understand that a landfill is at fire almost throughout the year. It's only when the firefighters are not able to douse the fire is when it actually catches the nation's attention, the city's attention, or media attention.
The